It's the start of 2025, and what better way to kick off the year than recapping the best and worst of 2024? I'll start with the worst list. This is entirely opinion based, and if you like any of these movies, that's fine. Now that that's out of the way, let's get into this. Number 10, Moana II. This film was originally meant to be a TV series, but got repurposed into a full-length film. While Disney's TV series based on their movies are nothing new, they were at least made for the small screen. This, however, should have stayed as a series. The pacing was awful, the sidecast are all adorkable, with a single defining trait, Matangi could have been cut out entirely, and Nalo is such a forgettable villain. Going forward, I'm going to be more selective with what I watch from Disney. Besides some Pixar titles and X-Men 97, there's not much that I'm looking forward to. Not helping is the scummy executiving. Number 9. Ghostbusters Frozen Empire. I wasn't a fan of Ghostbusters Afterlife. I found that film to be a hollow bore fest with nothing new to offer, only relying on nostalgia. Frozen Empire, like Afterlife, is yet another hollow bore fest with nothing new to offer, but nostalgia, and somehow worse. The majority of this movie is nothing happening, and the film doesn't become a Frozen Empire until the last 30 minutes. Not helping was the convoluted plot. Another Ghostbuster film is in the work, but I think I'll skip it, and stick with these Ghostbusters media. Number 8. Alien Rubicon, Ape x Mecha Ape, New World Order, and Attack of the Meth Gator. I combined these because they are all Asylum mockbusters. All of these films have laughable effects and are just boring. I will say Meth Gator is the best only because it has some unintentional hilarity. Also, the opening titles for these films celebrated 25 years of the Asylum. 25 years of what? Number 7. Rogue Elements, a Ryan Drake story. It's funny how The Critical Drinker, a guy who complains about films and bad writing, penned easily one of the worst movies of 2024. This film was like every spy thriller before, except it had nothing special to offer. The production was pathetic, and I could care less about the characters. This film proves that The Critical Drinker needs to stop talking trash about other people's work if he can't make quality work himself. Number 6.
That's not funny. That's not...
Joker Folie à Deux. The first Joker movie was a massive success. While the film didn't necessarily need a sequel, the follow-up didn't need to be this bad. This film was boring and completely missed the point of what made musicals special. Additionally, it diminished the original's impact because we now have a clearer understanding of what is and isn't happening in Arthur's head. Number 5. The American Society of Magical Negroes. Yes, this is an actual movie title. While the film lent itself for some good satire, it instead focused on this love story that I could care less about. I can't speak for black people if this film is offensive, but I can say this film offended me for being painfully unfunny. Number 4. Prey. Well, no, not that Prey. That Prey is good. Yes, that Prey. This film was just boring. Seriously, most of this movie had nothing happening, and when something interesting did occur, it happened off screen. There's not much else for me to say, which is fitting because not much happened in this movie. Number 3.
I am dark-skinned and bald, so I hate you, and I hate Jesus.
Not another church movie. Remember those spoof movies? It seemed like they ended in the mid-2010s. That was until this movie came along. This movie was meant to be a parody of Tyler Perry movies. I'm not the most caught up with Tyler Perry's filmography, but aren't they already a parody? This film's production was laughable, and I'm not even sure what the film had could be qualified as jokes. I wanted to rate this movie lower, but it didn't even anger me enough for that. For the most part, I'm just confused as to why this was made, let alone got a theatrical release. Number 2. Arctic Hollow. This film came very close to being number 1. The film follows an Alaskan bush pilot attempting a daring rescue on a stranded researcher in an Arctic cave system that is thought to be the entrance to the inner Earth, only to have to deal with dinosaurs. Except the dinosaurs are obscured to the point you can hardly see them, and the film was just boring. Not helping was how nonsensical this film was. Before we get into number 1, I have some dishonorable mentions. Stranger in the Woods. Not much to say, just a boring movie set in the woods that has already been done before. No Time to Spy, a Loud House movie. The Loud House has once again proven its best days are a thing of the past. Jurassic Triangle. Just a boring Dinosaur Island movie that features these other monsters instead. Dinosaur Hotel 3. This is so far the best installment of the series, only because it had some hilarity. Rippy. There's not much to say about a lackluster kangaroo horror movie. And now a new feature, the I'm not watching that mentions. There were a lot of films I decided to skip, so narrowing it down to 5 was a challenge. The Crow. I haven't seen the original Crow, but this didn't look good. It just looked like emo John Wick. Mufasa the Lion King. I'm done with the Disney live-action remakes. They have nothing to offer except make me want to watch the original instead. Madam Web, Kraven the Hunter, and Venom the Last Dance. I stopped watching the Sonyverse after Morbius, and I'm sticking by that decision. Borderlands. I haven't played the Borderlands games, but from the trailer, it looked awful. It was just a wannabe Guardians of the Galaxy. Saving Bikini Bottom, the Sandy Cheeks movie. This movie had already been pulverized when it got leaked on Twitter, not calling it X, and pulverized again when it was finally released on Netflix. Now that that's out of the way... Hello? What? We've already been through this. There is no Easter Bunny, there is no Tooth Fairy, and there is no Megamind versus the Doom Syndicate. Now, before I dive into number 1, I feel the need to provide some background on why I dislike it so much. In 2023 and part of 2024, I assisted my grandmother, who had dementia, before she was moved into assisted living. She passed away back in August. Because of this experience, my choice for the worst movie of 2024 is particularly painful for me. My number 1 worst movie of 2024 is The Front Room. In this movie, a racist old woman moves in with her son and black daughter-in-law, intending to make her daughter-in-law's life a living hell. This film was just a pain to sit through. I get this lady is trying to torture the lead, but the film didn't have to be so mean-spirited and gross. Like, I seriously did not need to see bodily fluids. And to think that this film was given to us by A24. A24 is a studio that I have great respect for. Even when their films left me disappointed, I could appreciate what they were trying to do. This film is not the case. So those are my top 10 worst movies of 2024. What are yours? Let me know in the comments. Next time, I will be talking about my best movies of 2024.